Most activewear brands think that cohesion in their collection comes from having the same colors, the same fabrics, the same logos across their different products. But the truth is a lot more nuanced than that. Do you know what separates the pro brands from the amateur brands? It comes down to the cohesion that you get in the trims, the hardware, and the actual pieces that you touch off the specific garments. We're talking about zippers, buttons, drawcords, stitching. We're talking about all of the physical pieces that are used across a collection. That is indeed what creates cohesion and what signifies to customers that you're a brand worth watching versus an amateur brand that doesn't know what it's doing. And on today's episode, I'll show you the standard framework that I follow with all of our partner brands to help them achieve that cohesion so that they can get a better look and feel to their finished garment. They can build up that trust with customers and command higher prices because they are operating on the same level as Nike, as Gymshark, as Alphalete, and at the same time save them money because of how we are optimizing and streamlining trim and hardware selection. So without further ado, my name is Shadi. I'm the co-founder and creative director of FittDesign, the world's first sportswear design agency, and we've literally helped thousands of brands go from an idea to a physical product in under 30 days. And if you watch till the end of this episode, I'll show you guys how you can do that as well. So before we get into it, think of trims like the accent language of your product. And they are especially important because they are the pieces of the product that your customers are going to engage with and interact with. If you look at a jogger, for example, the areas that you are dealing with the most are going to be the drawstrings, are going to be the draw cords, are going to be the zippers if you have pockets. Those are the areas of the garment that you are actually engaging and touching. So if those products and those areas have a high quality, then the trims and the hardwares are going to need to reflect that. The same is true across products within the same collection. Most people don't understand that having two joggers, maybe one for a woman and one for a man, where you have a different zipper system, doesn't just signify to someone that there's a lack of consistency. It shows that there is a lack of trust and a lack of decision-making ability, which builds a lower set of trust than if you were to align things together in a more cohesive way. And there are three key rules that I follow when designing trims for a specific collection. Rule 1 is that one collection needs essentially one trim family. And rule 2, matching doesn't necessarily mean that you are opting for identical trim and hardware across different products, but that you are aligning across a consistent set of decisions. And then rule 3, your trims must ultimately match the fabric selection, the fit, and the functionality that you are aiming for that specific product. Your trim selection should be intentional and it should make logical sense. So we'll break down the trim selection into 5 core categories so that you can standardize. And number 1 is the most obvious. This is going to come down to the packaging trims, aka how the product is represented and how it's presented to the actual customer. This is the first layer and the most essential layer. Imagine a customer receiving a set of products from you, and each one of them is housed in a different type of product sleeve. Maybe one is a Ziploc product sleeve, the other is a Mylar product sleeve, the third one might be some sort of net mesh product sleeve. Although each one of them may have a reason for being in those product sleeves, the lack of consistency throws customers off. So you need to be able to standardize the essential parts of your packaging, like the care labels, the hang tags, the product sleeves, the shipping bags. You, at the very maximum, should just be adjusting the size of the product sleeve depending and the information that's listed on the hang tag. But the silhouette and the actual envelope that's used for the specific packaging items should remain consistent throughout. So have the same size hang tag, have the same materials used on the hang tag, have the same color scheme, same thing for the product sleeve, and same thing for the shipping bag. Number 2 is going to be the zippers, both the actual zipper tape, teeth, and the type of zipper pullers that you use. This is essential because this is one of the fastest ways for you to mix quality levels, completely throw your customers off, and lose that credibility and that trust. When you think about zippers, you need to think about the puller itself. You need to think about what zipper mechanism you're using. Are you using a nylon? Are you using a plastic? Are you using a metal? And then what type of zipper finishing? Are you using a exposed zipper? Are you using a waterproof zipper? Are you using a fully encapsulated heat transfer tape zipper? It doesn't make sense to have a specific jogger that uses a nylon zipper and then the same type of jogger but on a different gender using a metal zipper. The same is true for the puller. If you're going to brand specific pullers, then unbranding other pullers doesn't make sense as long as they are within the same family. So for example, if I have a men's shorts and a women's shorts, and on the men's shorts I brand the zipper puller tab with my logo, but on the women's short it's the same type of zipper mechanism, but I leave the zipper puller unbranded, perhaps because I've gone to a different supplier that might have had a cheaper product. or because I've produced them at different times and I haven't done the due diligence to create a tech pack that outlines to the factory that the zipper puller should be branded, customers are going to see those products on your website, even if they don't purchase them, and they're going to feel that lack of cohesion. So pick one lane of zipper mechanism across your products. If you're going for activewear, nylon is going to be key. Then pick one type of zipper puller for exposed zippers, and then pick one type of zipper puller for exposed zippers that need to have some form of long zipper puller. So if you tend to see on ski jackets, you tend to have zipper pullers with exposed strings so that you can grab the strings through your actual gloves. The same is true for activewear. If you need to have zipper pullers that are accessible easily, then make sure that you are consistently using zipper pullers with exposed strings in areas that you need accessibility, such as things on jackets. But maybe on something like a short, you may not need to have a zipper puller with exposed strings, but simply a zipper puller with actual branded puller tab. And then last, if you're using a concealed zipper, it doesn't make sense to have a low profile concealed zipper on your men's shorts, but then on the women's shorts where you have a low profile concealed zipper, you have a different type of concealed zipper. Again, these are the nuances. It doesn't mean that you just use one zipper puller across everything, but you do make sure that if you have the same functionality on product A and same functionality on product B, that then you are aligning the zippers and the trims together. One core area is you need to be able to define your zipper standard. Make sure that you're defining and remaining consistent to what type of zipper coil you're using. Are you using nylon? Are you using metal? 2, make sure that you are defining the type of finish for the zipper coil. Are you going for glossy, matte, transparent? Make sure that you also define the tape strategy. Are you using color matched zipper tape? Are you using black zipper tape? Are you using some sort of special finish on the zipper tape? And then lastly, make sure that you are matching the zipper puller type. Are you going for minimal? Are you going for branded? Are you going for performance grip like I mentioned before? Number 3 is going to be your buttons and snaps. And here you're going to have a quality distinction and also a visual distinction. You need to make sure if you're ordering your buttons and snaps from a company like SBS that you maintain consistency across all your products. You don't want to go for generic button snaps for one product and non-generic button snaps for another product. You're going to get customers feeling the difference in terms of the shape, the width, and the type of performance that that button snap is going to do. Also, make sure that you're using the same color logic across different products. If you have button snaps that are exposed, then make sure that they're also exposed on another product. If you have button snaps that are color matched to the garment itself, then make sure that they're also color matched to the garment itself on the other product. You don't want to have random placements. If on some garments you choose to put button snaps on the closure of actual pocket flaps, but then on another garment that has the same type of pocket flap, you don't put a button snap. Again, what is the reason for that? There may be a lack of consistency there because of a lack of foresight, which again lowers customers' ability to trust your brand long term. So a clear hardware strategy for you to pick for the actual button snaps is make sure if you're going for tonal hardware where the button snap matches the actual garment color itself, then go tonal across all the board. If you're going for neutral hardware, then opt for matte black, which is going to work with your white, your black, your green, your gray, your pink, all of the different colors you have. And then if you're going to opt for metal hardware like chrome or anodized metal, then make sure to maintain consistency there. Number 4 is going to be the drawcords, elastic cords, and aglets. This is essential because if you have 2 hoodies, but one of them uses a round profile cotton-based cord versus another hoodie that uses a flat profile, maybe polyester-based cord, they might be the same types of products, but you are simply changing up the type of drawstring, which again reduces that trust that you have from customers. So you want to essentially understand that drawstrings are the main thing that customers are touching, they're feeling, they're interacting with these garments. So inconsistency means that you ultimately have a thick cord on one and a thin cord on another. One product has metal aglets, one product has silicone aglets. One product has a matte finish on the drawstrings, another one has a shiny or reflective finish on the drawstrings. One has an elastic feel and then another one is just pretty stiff. Again, these things could be an indication to customers that you haven't thought those details through, which come out visually and functionally through the end use of the products. So what's the premium approach is to make sure that you are maintaining a system that defines in advance the cord type. Are you using a round profile or are you using flat profile? Are you using wide cords or are you using thin cords? Are you using cotton cords or are you using polyester cords? Are you using color matched cords or are you using neutral cords? Are you using reflective finish cords or not? Then look at the aglet. Are we using silicone aglets? Are we using brass aglets? Are we using painted aglets? Are we using metal chrome aglets? And then are we branding them or unbranding them? If you have some garments that have branded aglets in color matched silicone, then some garments that don't have color matched aglets but they have metal aglets and they're unbranded and it's the same type of product overall, there is a disconnect there. Last but not least is going to be the actual labels and the trims that are used on the garments. These can be things like silicone patches, PVC patches, TPU patches. These can be things like the care labels that are on the inside of the garment. These can be things like the sizing labels or the printed labels that are on the garments. This is essential because these are the things that customers will notice, especially if they've ordered multiple products from you. Let's just say you have someone who's ordered a short sleeve, a long sleeve, and a tank top of the same type of product. But you have 3 different care labels and 3 different materials. One is satin, one is cotton, one is taffeta. This is an inconsistency. Also, the placements. Maybe one is on the left hip, but on the other one it's on the neckline, but there's no reason for it to be on the neckline. Again, inconsistency. What customers are doing is they know that if you have your care label in a specific place on one, then they're naturally going to look for it in that same exact place on another product. Just look at Lululemon. They use the same type of care labels across the board. On their garments, you can rest assured that on the pants, they're going to be on the center waistband. On the actual garments themselves, like a top, it's going to be on the center rear neckline. On a bra, it might be a little bit different, but across similar product categories, there's a consistency in the label placement, and they specify all of this in advance in their tech packs. That's how meticulous they are about consistency. So what should you standardize when it comes to labels? Well, number one, understand that you want to have the main label size and placement consistent. This is going to be the actual tag itself. So if you have a printed tag, then most likely it's going to be on the neckline, and it's going to be on the center neckline for all tops. And then on garments that have a flat waistband, it's going to be on the center of the waistband, actually aligned horizontally and vertically. If you have also the type of branding that you're using on it, make sure if you're using a 3M reflective branding for the heat transfer print on a sports bra, then it might make sense to have that on a legging. If you're using it as a screen print, then it should be consistent as a screen print across the board. If you're using tonal heat transfer prints for your actual brand labels, then it should be tonal heat transfer prints for your brand labels across the other products. This is where these consistencies really build up trust with customers. All in all, your collection should feel like one consistent system that has a understanding of who the end user is and how they are going to be reviewing and experiencing your product. With more performance-oriented products, you need to match your trims to each other. With more lifestyle-oriented products, you need to match those trims to each other. But at the very core, there should be alignment between the trim strategy for these trims and these trims, and they should all be underneath the same umbrella. Again, case in point of this is to look at a brand like Lululemon. It is very, very uncommon that you're going to find a Lululemon jogger from 2 years ago using a different zipper puller mechanism to a Lululemon jogger from this year. They tend to use nylon, they tend to use non-rattle or non-rotational ABS plastic actual zipper pullers. These are all indicators of consistency in their trim hardware. It helps them in their actual sourcing because they're able to order more of those zipper pullers up front and get a much better price overall. So if you're designing your own collection and it doesn't feel cohesive today and you're afraid to take it to market and you want to know the lowest hanging fruit in terms of how you can coincide different trims between different products so you can get better pricing on the trims, you can get better cohesion, and ultimately you can build a more well-established brand. You can check the link in the description to apply to work with us one-on-one. And what you can do is you can let us know a little bit about who you are, what you're looking for, what your timeline is, and you can apply to get a quote from us in under 24 hours. And we can show you a clear path on how we can help you get the product designed, developed, and manufactured correctly. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. And I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fit Design TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.